Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. As an internationally acclaimed opera singer, our next guest knows the power of music. She joins us today to share how music is being used to heal. We welcome the author of Sacred Vibrations, the Transformative Power of Crystalline Sound and Music, Jeralyn Glass. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you for having me.
What a beautiful setting. Tell me about what surrounds you here.
These are incredible instruments, and they're instruments of healing. They're modern. They've only been around about 25 years, and they are alchemy crystal singing bowls.
So how did you start practicing music in this form as somebody who was a professional singer for so long?
Great question. So I discovered the bowls 18 years ago. I was living in Germany at the time, working as a professor and a classical singer and doing concerts and opera. And I came back to the United States, and I was traveling with my mom, and we heard a demonstration. And I was like, Mom, these are incredible, because when I heard the sound is like, it's so pure. And when I heard the sound, I was just fascinated. I said, Mom, I've got to purchase some of these. And so I did. And I took them back to Germany, where I was living, and started playing them with my students and my friends and myself, and started exploring with them. And that's how it began 18 years ago.
Was it sort of a fun hobby in the beginning, and then as you kind of traveled along your journey, you kind of understood more of the transformative kind of healing power of these bowls?
No, actually, Hannah, it began right away. So when I would teach students singing, I had one situation where a student couldn't get into her upper range, and so I took actually this note, and I asked her to make sound with it. So I asked her, ah, just to make sounds that were comfortable for her. And as she sang with the bowl, her voice opened up. And so I began to see quite early on that the bowls had a kind of way to help people feel safe. And then she was able to go into her higher voice. And then what was really incredible is that she remembered something from her childhood that was traumatic. And she started crying, and those feelings came out, and then the blockage in her voice absolutely dissipated.
That's an incredible story. And then I know that this has helped you kind of manage your own trauma too, right?
Yeah, so at the time when I brought the bowls back to Germany, my son was 7, just turning 8, and he loved them. So I would bring him to bed, and he'd say, Mommy, bring me my sound blanket. And he'd love to sing with the bowls, and he found them very, very relaxing, and we'd say our prayers together, and then he'd fall asleep. And when he was 13, he was in a national singing contest in Germany, and he made it to the semifinals. And 1 week before his second audition, he had his voice change. And as a professor, I had never accompanied a young man through their voice change. And so we used the bowls, Hannah. And his voice stayed open, and he stood up on the stage and said, hello, my name is Dylan, and since 1 week, I'm no longer a soprano.
Oh.
So he made a joke, and the audience roared, and I also experienced the power of these sounds to help him ground in his confidence and his courage and his humor and self-esteem.
That's an incredible story, and I know that unfortunately that Dylan's no longer with us, but this is a major connection that you two have, and he's kind of your guiding angel in this practice.
Yeah, he passed away, it's going to be 10 years ago, and nothing prepares you for that. Nothing prepares you for the loss of a child. We talk about in grief therapy that when you lose a parent, you lose your past. If you lose a partner, you lose your present. But if you lose a child, you feel like you lose your future. And what I came to realize, that sound and sound vibration and music, which we both loved so much, has become this bridge, and he communicates with me. So on the night that he died, I'm here in Los Angeles and live near the beach and walked down to be by the ocean to find some sense of comfort. And I saw a huge shooting star, Hannah, and in that star with like this whoosh, I could hear his voice, Mom, it's like we always talked about. And he was referring to his childhood. He said, I'm home, I'm with God. And boof, how can you process any of that? But this journey has begun with this communication, and there's times now where I'll just go, what happened to this classical musician? What happened to this professor that's playing these instruments and talking with her son on the other side? I'd say to my mom, Mom, I must have lost my marbles. And she's like, no, dear, you're helping so many people. And so I know the power of music. I know it from my career. But as you said, it's a different form. It's a more therapeutic form of music with a very pointed way of using it.
That's so beautiful. You gave me goosebumps. Thank you so much for sharing part of your story with us today. It was so lovely chatting with you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeralyn's book again is called Sacred Vibrations. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.